Hi everyone, in this video we are going to explore one of the important types of research, that is ethnographic research. As you all might know, research aptitude is a module wherein we need to explore the different types of research, and you can expect questions from very frequently from this area as well. And among these different types of research, ethnographic research is a very important research. As you just go through the previous year questions, we can identify a lot of questions that are coming from this particular type. That's why we are going to explore this particular type of research in this particular session. So what we are going to do in this particular video is like we'll be exploring what is ethnographic research and what is the objective of it, and also we'll try to identify or explore the different types of ethnographic research as well. So which are the different approaches that we can use under ethnographic research. So ethnographic research is the process of observing people's behavior in their natural environment. So this means we are exploring, or we are just getting into a particular group of people and we are trying to identify their behavior, basically their habits, their different habits, and also their culture, what they believe in, how they live in their natural environment. So this is what we are exploring in ethnographic research. So of course it's a qualitative research type wherein we are exploring the behaviors of the people, right? And also, as we are exploring people in this particular research type, it is something that we can associate with anthropology. So you know that anthropology is the study of human culture and behavior, and this particular research is a qualitative research with its roots entrenched in anthropology. So you might get questions in this aspect also. You might have this master following questions and all that, wherein they'll just give you different types of research and also the disciplines to which you can associate these research types as well. So if you're getting a question like that, you can easily associate ethnographic research with anthropology. So as I have already mentioned, what we are exploring in ethnographic research is basically people, cultures, habits, beliefs, and their mutual differences. So this is what we are exploring here. So in order to identify, or in order to explore the culture as well as the habits of people, what we need to do is we need to be part of that particular community. Let's say if you're trying to explore, if you're trying to study a particular group of people, ethnic group or a tribal group, what you need to do is we need to be a part of their community so that you can easily observe and interact with them, so that we can identify how they feel, how they live in their natural environment. So observe and interact with the participants in their real life environment is a very important part of ethnographic research, and it gives importance to fieldwork, observation, and informal interaction. So if you consider ethnographic research, if you have a structured interview wherein you're interviewing people in a very formal way, that won't give you a proper understanding about that particular group of people, right? So you need to interact with them very informally so that they'll open up, they'll share their beliefs, their habits, their culture, everything with you, right? So giving importance to fieldwork means we are a part of that society, we're going to that field and we're exploring and observing, and you're interacting with those people. So it gives importance to fieldwork and observation and informal interactions as well. So this research encourages participants' perspective. This is a very, very important point. When we explore a qualitative research approach in itself, this participants' perspective is a very important thing. In ethnographic research, when you consider particularly ethnographic research, this particular idea gets a much more emphasis, because we are actually trying to get the perspectives of these people, these group of people, right? So it particularly focuses, or it encourages participants' perspective as well. So these are some of the important topics or important points that you need to associate with ethnographic research. Another important point that we need to remember here is about field notes. Okay, so field notes is basically something that we are taking, or it's something that is associated with ethnographic research. So we already said that observation and interaction is a very important part of ethnographic research, but we need to note down these observations so that we can take it as data. So we need to convert these observations into data, and this field notes is something that helps you to store or collect the information and store it as a data so that you can use it in your further investigation. So what do you mean by field notes? Field notes are written or recorded observations made by the ethnographer during their time spent in the field, where they immerse themselves in the community or setting they are studying. So as a researcher, when this person, when he or she is associating with these people, she or he will be getting a lot of insights about that community, and this particular researcher has to take down those observations and those interactions and the major striking points into this field note. So it's like a record wherein we are writing or we are recording the observations that we are getting when we are spending time in this particular field or with this particular people that we are exploring. So that is what field notes is all about. So field notes is a very important thing or a tool that or a technique that you can use when you are interacting with different people, when you are becoming an ethnographer, a graphic research. Okay, so now we are moving to the different approaches or the different types of research that you can consider under ethnographic research. So there are certain different approaches that you can use in ethnographic research, and this covert research is a term that, or it's a common term. It's not like a subtype of ethnographic research, but still you can use that covert research as a part of ethnographic research. So what do you mean by covert research? That is what we are going to explore first, and then we'll be connecting this idea with ethnographic research. Okay, covert research, also known as undercover research or secret research, refers to a research approach in which the researcher gathers data and conducts investigations without the knowledge or consent of the subjects being studied. So we know that when we are doing certain research or when we are doing a study, there are certain times we need to collect data from the people without informing them about them, because there might be some issues related to, there might be some reasons, like there might be some legal reasons, or there might be some ethical or safety reasons. So if something like that happens, we do this covert research wherein this method is typically used when we are observing or when we are collecting data without revealing our identity. So that is what this covert research is all about, or it is also known as undercover research and secret research, wherein the researcher gathers data and conducts investigations without the knowledge or consent of the subject being studied. And we can use this covert research in ethnographic research also. So covert research in ethnography, it's a specific connection. This covert research is a common term wherein we can, whenever we are using a secret research or a secret method of collecting data, we are doing this covert research, but we can connect this method with ethnographic research in general. So covert research in ethnography refers to a research approach where the researcher conceals their identity or purpose from the participants being studied. So what we are doing here, the researcher is not revealing, or the researcher is actually concealing his or her identity, and then he or she is doing this research. That means we are not informing the participants regarding the objective or why we are actually doing this study, why we are interacting to them. We are not revealing that, but we are collecting data and we are doing a secret research. We can do it in ethnographic research as well. But one of the most important things that is getting affected when we are doing covert research in ethnography is, of course, this ethical aspect, right? So when we consider the research ethics, one of the important things that we are exploring there is informed consent, right? So we have to inform the participant about the research, of what we are doing, what is objective, what are the merits and demerits of having a study like this. But when it comes to covert research, we cannot reveal any of these things. So there we are actually violating certain ethical principles. That is something that we can consider here as a major thing as well. So this type of research can raise significant ethical concerns due to the lack of informed consent and the potential for harm to the participants. So in covert research, we are doing it secretly without revealing the identity, or we are concealing the objective of why we are doing this study, or even we are not even revealing that we are doing a study as such. So in that manner, we are actually violating certain principles, certain ethical principles, and it lacks informed consent as well. So this is one approach in ethnography, and the next one is virtual ethnography or digital ethnography. So what do you mean by virtual ethnography or digital ethnography? It refers to an ethnographic research approach that is carried out in online settings. Ethnographers are interested in studying culture, often engage in fieldwork to immerse themselves in culture they are studying. In the same way, virtual ethnographers study online communities and culture. They conduct their research on the internet. So that means virtual ethnography is basically a research wherein we are exploring culture in an online setting. So we already know that what an ethnographer does. So an ethnographer usually or he or she is interested in studying the culture. So in order to study the culture, the ethnographer will be immersing in that particular field, and he or she will be observing and interacting with the people. Likewise, in virtual ethnography, or these virtual ethnographers, they study online communities and their culture. So of course, this particular study is focusing primarily, or it is conducted primarily on the internet. So it's like studying online communities and their culture. So that is what virtual ethnography or digital ethnography is all about. And another type of ethnography is visual ethnography. So what do you mean by visual ethnography? We are using different visual tools and techniques in order to study a particular community. That is what visual ethnography is all about. So it is a research method that combines traditional ethnographic techniques with visual elements such as photography, video and other visual media to study and document cultures, societies and human behavior. So visual ethnography means we are using visual elements or visual tools, like we are using different photography, then videos or visual media and all these visual techniques or visual elements in order to document culture or societies and even human behavior. So this is what visual ethnography is all about. So it allows researchers to capture and convey rich contextual information that may be difficult to express solely through written or verbal descriptions. Visual ethnography can provide a deeper understanding of cultural practices, social interactions in everyday life. So why we use this visual ethnography is because there are times it is difficult for us to express certain things about a community through written or verbal description. So in that way, or in that particular context, you can use these different visual elements like photographs or videos that will give a much more clear understanding about what we are trying to say about a particular community. So there comes the significance of visual ethnography. Then we have another type of ethnography, that is auto-ethnography. So what do you mean by auto-ethnography? That means it's all about auto means something related to personal, right? So auto-ethnography means we are actually trying to explore a culture through our own personal experience. So that is auto-ethnography. So it's a research approach that involves a systematic analysis of one's own personal experiences, observations and reflections within a broader cultural or social context. So we are trying to, if I am doing an auto-ethnographic research, that means I am trying to explore my own personal experiences, my own observations and my own reflections within the border of my own context of culture, right? So that is what auto-ethnography is all about. So in this particular approach, the researcher is both the subject and the analyst, using their own lived experiences as the primary data source for understanding and interpreting cultural phenomenon. So what happens in this particular research is like the researcher is actually using his or her own lived experiences in order to describe or in order to define a particular culture or the cultural phenomenon. So that is what auto-ethnography is all about. So when it comes to generally ethnographic research, what all things that we have explored here, we have identified what's the main aim or objective of ethnographic research, and also we have explored the different tools like field notes. That is something that you can use in order to do your ethnographic research, and also we have explored some of the important approaches or types that you can consider under this particular research as well. Now we are going to explore a few sample previous year questions that were asked from this particular area, so you can get a much more clearer idea about how you can expect questions from this particular research type. So this is a question that was asked in June 2023 NET exam, and this goes like this. Covert research in ethnography is beset with personal issues, ethical issues, political issues, historical issues. So if you consider covert research in ethnography, one of the most important concerns that we explore there is of course ethical issues. We have already explored it, right? So the right answer for this question is option B. Next question, December 2022 NET exam. In ethnographic research, the researcher involves himself in a dash over a period of time. And we have the options of philosophical discourse, political campaign, financial transaction, social setting. So what happens in ethnographic research? We are trying to study about a particular group of people's culture, their beliefs, how they live, their own experiences, right? And in order to experience, or in order to observe a particular group in this context, or in this particular manner or a perspective, what we need to do is we need to be a part of that community. We have to immerse in that particular natural environment. So the question here goes like this: in ethnographic research, the researcher involves himself in a dash over a period of time. The most appropriate choice is, of course, option D, that is social settings. So the right answer is option D. Next question, this is from December 2021 and June 2022 merge cycles. Virtual ethnography is located in A or N, and we have the options: natural environment, technical environment, political environment, economic environment. So from the given options, which will be the right, most appropriate choice you can identify? We already explored what virtual ethnography or digital ethnography is all about. It's like a kind or a type of ethnographic research wherein we are studying the online communities and their culture. So it happens in internet. So the most appropriate choice that you can associate with virtual ethnography from the given options is, of course, option B, that is technical environment. Moving to the next question, December 2021 and June 2022 merge cycles, and the question goes like this: auto-ethnography is an approach that analyzes, and we have the options: personal experiences, community issues, local tribes, and cultural distance. So we already explored what auto-ethnography is all about. So auto-ethnography is a type of ethnographic research wherein we are exploring our own personal experiences in a broader context of culture. That means we are trying to explore our own personal experiences in order to describe, or in order to interpret a cultural phenomenon. So that is what auto-ethnography is all about. So from the given options, auto-ethnography is an approach that analyzes what? Personal experiences. So the right answer for this question is option A. So in this session, we have explored what this ethnographic research is all about. So we have just gone through all the important points that you need to focus when it comes to ethnographic research. This is just one of the types of research that we need to study under the module research aptitude. There are a lot of other types of research also. We have fundamental research, then applied action research, phenomenological research, historical research, descriptive, cross-sectional, exploratory, co-relational research, longitudinal research. These are all very important research types from which you can actually expect questions in your next attempt. So if you want to know more about these types of research in detail, you can actually think of Appleby Academy's courses, because we are providing very detailed classes on types of research in our LMS platform, in our live sessions, and also in our classroom sessions. Okay, so if you want to know more about Appleby Academy's Paper 1 courses, you can just contact the number that is given below. We have both online and offline classes available here. For more details, you can contact us directly to the number that is given below. So that's it for this session. Thank you and happy learning.